Ba-da-ba-ba. I love that. Oh my gosh, admin Arcvile. I'm here's the deal. I'm still doing setup. Thank you so much. Arcviles were always like the scariest Doom enemies of all, but you are less. You are not scary. You are cool. Okay, I gotta make sure that I actually get stuff set up, though. Okay, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Sub bomb. Thank you for the sub bombs. Oh my gosh. Brain. Don't be dumb. Don't be dumb. Let me get the setup. Oh jeez, this crispy music. Oh come on, I gotta get set up. I can't listen to Frogger for an hour. Hello everybody and welcome back to Kusog7ande, the Bad Video Game Tournament. Thank you for all those follows and those subs. The gift subs are super helpful. If you do want a little something in return as well, I have been working on my puzzle game Magpie, which is out on itch. In April, I'm going to try to have 20 new levels, and I hopefully, maybe tomorrow, I'll have time to put up the changes that I've made so far that introduce a sprite select. You are welcome to go download that, and if you like it, you can always pay a little bit for the game. I like to be able to give something for all of the love that you have in return, though. It is available for free for whoever wants to try it out. So, I don't know my itch page. What is it? itch.io/Brosentia? Or is it Brosentia.itch.io? Let me try this. I should be doing the reveal right now. Instead, I'm just trying to find what website this is. Yeah, brosentia.itch.io. Bam, over there. And you can find the birdie game. Which, honestly, I'm really excited because the next set of 20 levels are going to have a couple mechanics. One of them I've seen before in games, and one of them I have not, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm so glad that I'm able to actually put a game together. Frogger Music, take us to the Iron GM reveal, por favor. Let's do this thing. Watch out, the snake's gonna get you, Crappy! Well, everybody, for the Iron GM round, the players were presented with 3 choices. If they chose the same GM, that game master ended up giving out the game, and if they chose different GMs, then they were gifted a GM that neither of them expected, who is now ready to unleash wrath. So say hello to the 3 possible GMs for this round. We had Iron GM Robobird, our friend Corndan. We love birds here. We also have Iron GM just screenshot this dingus. Oh my gosh, this was so hard to get it to fit right. Whatever, y'all know who it is. It's Tristan. And finally, Iron GM. Shut up, I'm making my video games. It's me. Oh my gosh. Y'all didn't think that I could be giving out 2 games today, did ya? Well, our first player, Author Blues, chose me and is pretty rad. And our second player decided to go for Tristan. That's the Time Wanderer, which means that Corndan, our Robobird, is the GM. Oh, we thought we got rid of you, Corndan. What the crap?
I'm back, jerks.
Aha! You certainly are. Come on, Crappy, walk past us. Yeah, so you have an amazing game today, and I can say that because I love this game.
You know what, right? I actually really love this game I'm giving out, but not in the way I'm giving it out. You know, it's April 1st weekend, and I had to work 10 hours yesterday, so I didn't get to celebrate April Fool's Day. So we're going to celebrate it today.
Yay, April Fools!
Right, and you know, they didn't pick me, and I'm kind of upset about that.
You're so upset.
But I decided, you know, it's April Fool's. I'm going to give them a good game.
Okay.
So I gave them Gradius 3.
Yeah, look at that. There's a spaceship, there's like a tentacle in space.
Yeah, Gradius 3 is a great game.
This game is fantastic. Give me a second, I'm still working on getting everything set up. Yeah, everybody, you know what? Occasionally we have debatably good / bad games on Kusog7ande.
Look,
yeah, let me go ahead and see if I can turn the audio up. Just a sec.
What version of ZSNES?
Well, it's this one. Yeah, this is sounding just about as expected. Give me a little bit more time so I can get this set up and get everybody's icons correct. I feel like I accidentally have Author Blues' icon set so that it's going to horizontally stretch, and I'm not sure if I want to keep that or change it. Oh, he looks so fat if he's stretched horizontally.
Ah, that's so good.
Oh my gosh,
So
I might keep it. Okay, everybody, you'll see it later. Don't worry. Wait,
so
this is the Time Wanderer. Yeah, okay.
This is the Time Walker.
Wait, the time... Oh my gosh, okay, I accidentally...
No, you got it right.
I accidentally named their icon the Time Wanderer, so that's not correct. Okay, just a couple more minutes. So not only are we getting audio crimes, there may be some other issues that show up because of this.
The worst thing about this is not the audio.
Yeah, I hope everybody's ready for the nightmare that is to come, because it is certainly coming.
It's real bad. So, I will argue I tried to give them another game that definitely had the very best audio crimes like ever.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's all right.
Maybe we'll play it. Maybe we'll play it this Tuesday for a little while. Right? On Don't Make Us Bored.
Okay.
You know, because my birthday's this week, and we should subject everybody to audio crimes.
Happy birthday!
Yeah, my birthday's on Thursday.
Yeah, I know that you're going to be a little late because you got some probably birthday shenanigans before that.
Well, no. So I won an award at work, and the day the award ceremony was, it dropped like 6 inches of slush.
Yeah.
And so they do a big open house and fancy everything, and so they canceled that part. And so it's actually going to be on Tuesday. So you know, they're just throwing me a 40th birthday party. What it is.
Aw.
And I'll get off, and it'll be a quick. You know, I'll basically be pushing it close, right? But you know, there's going to be a Kusog7ande match. So I don't have to, and I am not GMing that because
everybody
I'm not GMing that.
Spam all of your space emotes or glitch emotes because we're gonna have plenty of both of those. And as soon as I see movement for one of the players, I will start our timer.
So let's talk about this. Where's the Vic Viper?
It's there.
Is it the front? Is it the back? Where is it? No one knows.
Oh, I like all those rainbows. Yeah, I feel like you might know because
I do. It's halfway in between the back and the front of the ship.
Yeah, there are strategies that the players can develop in order to make this more reliable, but it's going to take time.
The strategy is legitimately find something like the option, right, that sits next to your ship and that tells you where you're at.
By the way,
so now off being like a good gamer, right, is doing a lot better than I did. It took me 35 minutes to get to this point.
Yeah, and you've beaten this game before, right?
I mean, I have beaten this game normally. I have not beaten this game on ZSNES. So, chat's asking, is this normally Gradius or is this modified? This is a normal Gradius ROM that ZSNES 0.15 just completely messes up.
Yep, ZSNES, we usually have had like some weird graphical artifacts as well as like audio issues, but on Kusog7ande we really haven't had any versions of ZSNES where like it affected the player's sprite so much. What is happening to this dragon thing? Oh my gosh.
So some games, let's talk about ZSNES 0.15 for a little bit, right? Is that it is the first public release of ZSNES that had sound, and at the time nobody really understood. Hold on a second, let me ask the refs to help.
So, a question here, actually, because I don't know too much about this game. Are there unlimited continues in the game, or
no,
are there limited?
Not.
Oh, no.
It's limited to, like, 3.
Oh.
Right, KM, this would be the same version. So,
yeah,
the
KM
thing
was
here
asking
is
about Donkey Kong Country.
At the time this was released, right, not a lot was really well understood about the Super Nintendo system as a whole. As far as emulation goes, right? And so they didn't really understand the sound chip, the SPC700, well at all, right? Which is why you get the sound primes all over the place. And some of the features in of like how the sprites and everything work, right, don't really get done very well because the SNES CPU wasn't super well understood at the time as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, generally it mostly played, right, but it did not play super well.
Yeah. There are definitely some people whose first experience with some games was through ZSNES, and through this version of ZSNES, I don't feel like I feel like I would have been one of the people who tried it out and was like, I'll wait.
So I definitely played not on this version, but on a version not far past it. Right?
Yeah.
You know, I even gave them a joy to key config because I thought that was the nice thing to do. Right? Because the keyboard configuration for this is absolutely awful.
Oh, it's so... Yeah, what is the keyboard configuration?
Right. So, it's, right, the arrow keys are the arrow keys.
Okay.
Right? Enter is start and right shift to select.
Yeah.
And then it's insert, delete, home, and end for the face buttons, but not in the order you quite think of them. right? Y is delete, X is insert, then B and A are end and home, and then L and R are page up and page down.
No! Oh, that's bad. Yeah, joy to key is almost necessary
So
here.
I gave them a joy to key setup here, right? The other thing about ZSNES is it doesn't do transparency very well because early versions, unless you had Visa graphics drivers, right, only supported 256 colors.
Yes.
And so it doesn't do transparent, it doesn't do alpha effect, like, at all.
Yeah. Keep going.
And so some games, like the game I'll bring to Don't Make Us Bored, right? There are certain levels you can't even do unless you turn off like certain levels, right? Because the Super Nintendo has like 4 planes.
Yes.
That it draws on, and if you want to learn more about it, look up retro video game mechanics. Right, there's a whole series on the Super Nintendo. It's great.
Yeah.
So you actually have to turn off the front plane sometimes to see things, or the back plane, whatever it is, right? Because ZSNES doesn't composite them correctly.
Yeah, that's correct. I think that I remember one of my first ZSNES experiences was with a fan translation of Final Fantasy V. First time I got to experience it, and at the pirate ship, I actually the layers were messed up, so I couldn't actually see the ships. I think I managed to get through that area, but it was just by walking against walls and hoping I made it through. And I think that I beat it, but holy crap, it was hard.
So I'm expecting Oth here, right? Oth has got the right idea. You play to get the option, right? And then you get the missiles, because that means you don't have to move as much. And then hope to God you just find the right enemies.
Yeah,
but that option's telling Oth where the Vic Viper actually is.
Yeah, the option lags a tiny bit behind your ship, so you do have to think that your ship is just a little bit ahead of wherever the option moved. But
not
it's
by a whole lot.
Yeah, it's a pretty good indication. At least you get the general idea. Author Blues is doing really well with this, though.
Wow. So, chat's asking, is the Konami code banned? You know what? If they want to try putting it in, they can try. I mean, it'll work. I didn't explicitly ban it.
It's a cheat.
I
would say no, it doesn't count. You can't do it.
Well, I would say it doesn't. So one, I would argue it doesn't matter. The cheat code in this is actually super useful. It just gives you, like, all the upgrades, right? It doesn't make the game easier or anything like that. It doesn't give you 30 lives. It doesn't do anything.
If any of the players tries to do it, we can make a judgment call at that point.
And you'll know right away.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Okami is saying it gives you all the upgrades, then kills you. That would be pretty fantastic if it did.
I mean, so it depends on what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
If you put in a particular way, it will kill you, right? But if you use the shoulder buttons, LNR, it'll give you everything.
Are you serious? Oh, baby, that's kind of amazing. Okay. Yeah, I would say that if they got everything, like we have discussed multiple times in this show, the issue of Gradius syndrome, and I want Gradius syndrome to not be affected.
Yeah, you would have to know everything about, right, this, essentially. It's kind of how it works out, right?
Yeah, neither of them have played Gradius, right? Or this version.
Both of them said it's a weak spot, right? And I was willing to accept this, if they've just played this, right? I'd be willing to like accept this anyway, right? Because this is one of those things that even like playing it, if you haven't played it like through to the end, right? If somebody said they had beaten the game, I would say that would be different, right? But even if you said I've lightly played it, the fact that this game added extra difficulty because you can't really see what you're doing.
Yeah, this. This is a cruel, cruel fate that the players have gotten to deal with here. And with an April Fool's type thing, you know, we actually didn't have too many big surprises for April Fool's on Kusog7ande. There may be a couple more today, though, but we just have to see what the GMs have decided to unleash. My biggest thing was, I just want people to play a very, very bad game, and I'm going to make them play Super Pitfall.
Well,
whereas you're like, let's do a good game on a very, 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 very bad emulator.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I didn't really want to give them a super bad game. You know, on a bad emulator. I mean, I almost did. You know, I almost gave them a you know what, like a mediocre, like a mediocre sort of game on a bad emulator.
Okay.
Instead, we got this, right? And I gave them an option for another game. You know, we could pick and choose. I picked this one when they said they really haven't played either one.
Did you say that they were doing a high score for this?
Yes, it's high score. I knew well enough that of what I should and shouldn't do, because we're not going to track this.
Okay, well, there you go, chat. You get to participate in helping us track what's going on as well. High score is where it's at. And at this point, nobody has beaten the whatever.
We haven't even beaten the first level.
Yeah, the first level or the in-game high score.
I expect we'll probably beat the in-game high score eventually. Off's getting really, they're both kind of doing it. Off especially is getting really good at managing where he's at.
By the way, one thing that I think we should mention is that the bullet sprites do not necessarily correlate with where the bullets are.
Actually, they're fairly good.
Well, I mean, like, vertical-wise, yeah, they're fairly good, but even
horizontal, right? What you're not seeing is seriously, it's just the Vic Viper that's like, and some of the big ones, the Sand Dragon and stuff like that, like those sprites are like super messed up. But like the enemy sprite, like the bullet sprites, are actually legit. The enemies themselves, also pretty good.
Jeez.
Except the Sand
the dragon's dead! Oh my gosh. That was a very fast takedown of the Sand Dragon by Author Blues. Using the laser and immediately dying. Welcome everybody to Gradius 3. That's how it goes anyways, even if you are playing the vanilla non-SNES ZSNES version. Holy crap.
The game is super hard.
Yeah. One thing that I love about Kusog7ande, especially the winner's bracket, is that we are able to do some riskier things here because neither player is in danger of being eliminated. Yeah, we get to
also
be goofy.
The other thing here, you know, when we're talking about the players' bullets, the sprites off because the Vic Viper sprites all levels are messed up. But like after that, the bullets are actually tracked properly. As weird as that sounds.
Yeah, like ZSNES does have some games where the physics significantly change. There's one game that we learned that you actually cannot beat one of the bosses. Thank you, Tiny Toon Adventures. That possibly has the sound is special in that, and the first boss is invincible, so that's pretty good. Yeah, but in this, we're not really aware of any issues with the gameplay. The gameplay seems pretty much the same as the original Gradius 3. It's just the ability to see where you are or what you're doing. That's what's difficult here. Author Blues, by the way, taking a whole bunch of speed ups. That is both a blessing and a curse when it comes to Gradius.
I mean, 1 or 2 speed ups is good, I think, right?
Yeah.
Right, like, I feel like your very first thing you get should be a speed up. Right. Because the base one is just too slow to deal with. And so like one speed up gets you in a spot that you can move around the screen pretty well.
Yeah. I think my only concern with speed ups in this type of game, in this type of match, is that it's going to be a little, like, if you're moving fast and can't even see your sprite, weaving in and out of bullets is going to be extremely difficult. Not impossible, yes, but it's going to take practice.
Oh yeah, there's all sorts of things here that are just like, right, everything here is crimes, basically. And so the value of this, right, is that, you know, the game is, once again, the game itself is pretty okay. We just got to figure out what's going on. And really the challenge with this, when we're talking about this as a bad game, is figuring out where you are and what you need to do to survive this.
Yep. The biggest thing that you found that helped was collecting what's called the option. And for those who don't know what that means in Gradius, what is that?
So you can power up to get up to 4 options, and every option, every time you fire, the option produces a copy of whatever you're shooting. Right? If it's the laser or the ripples, the missiles, whatever, right?
Okay.
So in good Gradius play, right, you're going to want to basically get all of the options right away. And so in the traditional kind of game, the options are going to kind of trail behind you a little bit. So that first option is really useful here because it basically sits right at the back of your ship.
The option is an additional thing that shoots projectiles.
Yeah, it's an additional
It's like, it's the weird orb that you'll see occasionally appear behind the player. And actually, behind the player, you'll just notice it floating around. But it basically is as close to your ship location as anything you're going to see during this game.
Yep. The other thing, right, if you have a power-up, right, at all, on the bar, and you die, the game sets you at the speed-up power-up.
Okay.
Start.
Oh,
so
no.
It's kind of that feel like if you die, right, you can at least have like a speed-up back right away.
Yeah, I think you were pretty correct in your assessment that the players are going to be struggling for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow.
I mean, because I played for an hour, and I've made it to about where Off has made it so far.
Yeah, over the course of an hour, that's like...
Over the course of an hour, right? I mean...
of work.
And so I did a lot of, like, trying to understand what was going on and all that, and these guys are... generally speaking, better gamers than I am, right? Not to say I'm terrible or whatever, you know, I think I'm okay. But I'm definitely, you know, when it comes to some of this, not necessarily a good player at some of these things. And as I've gotten older, you know what? I have stupid fingers. That really doesn't help.
Yep.
So, you know, I figure wherever I can get in kind of like an hour, right, is a good feel for where, you know, these guys are going to make it in at least a half an hour, right? You know, and sometimes they'll pick up on it and they'll be better than me, and that's okay. So I'd love to see level 2. I'd love to see the boss of level 1.
I think we're going to see the boss of level 1, like, for sure by the end of this match. Just they're really figuring out how this game works. It's and how specifically the ZSNES version works. Like the position of your ship, the back half of your ship gives you a good indication of where you are vertically. The option really helps you see where you are horizontally. The missile upgrade also helps quite a bit with that as well, though. So keeping those two things in mind, the option as well as the back half of your ship, you can usually pinpoint more or less where your ship is. But if you don't have any of that stuff, then good luck. It's going to be rough. But again, the players are trying to get the highest score that they can. Beating the game is not what matters. What they need to do is just beat their own personal best, do better each time that they're playing, and hopefully make it... I imagine there's a hefty score bonus if you beat the first stage.
I remember it to be okay.
Okay. Author Blue's trying to get the power up and unfortunately was too far to the right. I love the dancing trying to see him pick it up.
This is Off's high score right now.
Yes. That's 15,800, 17,000 at this point. Very, very nice. I don't know if we're going to see the first boss soon. That is a death for Author Blues and a game over. But 18,500 is not bad at all. Yeah, y'all like these audio crimes because I like them.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, does anybody want some Gradius 3 lore? Because I rarely get to talk about lore for good video games. But I can read you.
And this is a good video game.
Yeah. Turns out the game is good. It's just the emulator that they're using is not good. Oh, it's not good. Okay,
I'll tell you what.
Go ahead.
Right, Off did tell me, legitimately tell me, that when I handed out all of this, that let me tell you what Off told me about when he picked, right? Because I think it's worthwhile.
Okay.
And it's part of the reason this is why it is. Let me pull this up here. Right, so I did everything Off said. Anyway, you're gonna make me play some console I've never heard of on an emulator from before Y2K So Bro Sencho.
Yeah, that's why you chose me. I love it.
And so I didn't give them a I didn't give them a game from that on a system he's never played before, right? You've heard of this game, but I did give him an emulator before Y2K.
Yeah, this is a very well-known game, a very well-known series, but honestly, the fear was real and understandable, and I appreciate it.
Yep.
Honestly, we aspire to make people afraid. That's what Kusog7ande is all about, fear and suffering.
So, everybody looks at this like, oh my god, look at this, right, with everything going on, right? I want to point out...
Oh, yeah?
I had to go through 4 games on ZSNES, right, before we settled on this.
Oh, that just sounds like a good time, Cornman. Stop threatening me with a good time.
There were definitely some ZSNES crimes that were a good time.
Yeah. Not only that, but, like, this last Thursday, I was like, I'm just trying to prep for Grudge Match, and I don't think I have the mental capacity to go and, like, hang out with people at this moment. And then Corndan's like, you have to see this. And I popped in, and I was
wrong?
like, no, you were not wrong. I had to see this. Author Blues, by the way, currently has an invisible ship, but because of the way that the bullet shoots out, it's a decent way to tell where the ship actually is. Where is the sand serpent? I don't know, but I know where the ship is.
Yeah, and honestly, they're both fighting. I've seen it from both. I've seen it from both players picking that vertical shot.
We're at the boss.
Ew. And it's messed up too.
This is not how it should look. Agreed. But that's a score of 18,400. I don't know if that's higher than Author Blues' previous score.
It is not.
Still at 18,400. Never mind. Did it just go up by 100 for no reason?
No.
Oh. His high is 18,600. Okay, gotcha. Yep. Thank you, chat. Author Blues is busy typing in Discord.
I'm waiting for him to yell at me.
He said, LMAO, no clue what that thing's supposed to look like, so I don't know where it's supposed to be.
I mean, that's very fair.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I just love when we have a game that is so special that the players really, like, need to say something about it during the match. And honestly, like, we'll go ahead and call it like Arkham Horror strats, where you just gotta take a little bit of time to save your sanity, you know? Maybe lose a little gameplay time, but sanity is just as important when you're trying to play something like this.
Oh, yeah.
But with that said, let me read some actual lore of the actual game and not the ZSNES version. Although, reading the lore, it almost feels like it's ZSNES version. There's something strange about 90s lore. Anyways, it says, in the darkest quadrant of space there churns the vortex of bad vibes. Bacterian, it has been called, is a malignant mass that has spawned all that is wicked in the universe. Feeding on the suffering of the innocent, it moves like a germ throughout the galaxy, manifesting itself in unspeakably hideous forms. In the past, Bacterian has only had the power to rear its ugly head on a few isolated occasions. That is, until now. Being a good grade in your history class in primary school was the first place you heard of the ancient heroic missions to fight Bacterian. You even got a toy warp rattler for your 5th birthday. Those were the days when it was just a chapter in your history book. History is important to the people of Gradius, as is all the higher pursuits of knowledge, art, and music. Gradius has reached a renaissance. Your people are known throughout the universe as a good and peace-loving nation. Who could have known that it would come down to this? The ancient scholars prophesied that a day would come when the evil beast would be unleashed after aeons of being kept at bay, including a slow and painful death, or inflicting a slow and painful death on the entire galaxy. That day has come. So there we go. Just the first sentence saying that it is the vortex of bad vibes. Like,
I mean, that's actually pretty fair.
Yeah, but it's so funny to me. Like, you get a sentence like that these days, and suddenly, you know, it's going to be a game all about. It's going to be a hippie game. That's what it's going to be. Oh, yeah. But no, this is Gradius.
Hey, it looks like we have a new high score for Time Walker.
11,100. Let me go ahead and jot these down, because Off has 18,600. Time Walker, not Wanderer, not Stalker, has 11,100. Not what?
You know, we have 4 times here. And at one point in time, we were hoping to get all 4 of them into a match at the same time. Time Wanderer, Time Walker, Time Stalker, and Time Box.
Who's Time Box?
One of the other competitors.
There's a Time Box?
Yes.
I'm actually legitimately scared now, because I thought there were only 3.
No, there were 4, and we figured if we could get all 4 of them into the same match, you would lose your crap.
Oh, Time Boxer. Oh, absolutely. Do you know how commentary would go during that?
Yeah, it would be a mess.
It would be the biggest mess that has ever existed. Bigger than ZSNES. Holy crap. So people are wondering what's the difference between ZSNES and SNES Gradius 3. The thing is, like, the original version of this game, fantastic. This is still the original version, just played on an emulator that was a very early released prototype that has a lot of flaws. So, in essence, it's like you're trying to... we're balancing eggs on spoons here instead of carrying them in the freaking basket. That's what we're doing here.
That's one way of putting it, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, people are correct. ZSNES was for DOS. Originally, it had keyboard controls that were an absolute nightmare to use, and but at the same time, like, I'm somebody who has sort of released projects as they were still being developed and made, and, like, seriously, being able to put something together that is this far along despite the flaws,
oh yeah,
it's really impressive.
And it came at a time when, like, everybody wanted to start doing emulation and nobody really knew how, right? So this right, from a historical standpoint of like SNES emulation, this is like super important.
Yeah. Honestly, like, I feel like a lot of people wanted to go and play games back then that, you know, had been released in other countries that we knew existed that we hadn't been able to play. This was realistically one of the first options for us to do that. And also some people, you know, because it was not too much after the Super Nintendo had been released. I'm not completely sure when this first came out, but, you know, I'm somebody who might raise an eyebrow a little bit about when it comes to emulating games that have just come out. I'm like, maybe I'm not the biggest fan of that, but certainly when it comes to preservation efforts, you sort of have to start early, otherwise things are going to disappear. And so from a preservationist standpoint, I'm very glad that this was made when it was. However, it still was not complete, but I think that sharing something that is on its way and being developed is very neat as well. Not everybody would be willing to put out something like this that has as many flaws as it has, but I'm really glad that the developers did and that we have it here. Uh-oh, somebody is saying that they like the Super Nintendo version better than the arcade version's music. I honestly do not know.
The Super Nintendo version of this is amazing. The music and everything is amazing. Like, even with the ZSNES screwed up, it's amazing.
Like, I can tell that this music is really impressive, despite it being an absolute mess on ZSNES. It still is really good, and I think there are reasons for that. You know, the person who worked on the music, they had multiple people on the arcade version. For the Super Nintendo, you had Kazuki Muraoka and 4 other people working on the audio. You know what? Muraoka also worked on... what else? Sound director for Metal Gear Solid 5. Oh my gosh. Seriously, a lot of games to his credit. Basically, every Metal Gear Solid you have played, this guy was in charge of the sound there. Did audio for Parodius, Blades of Steel, the original Metal Gear, Top Gun, NES, Contra for arcade, sound editor for that. Like, absolute legend here. Another person, Kazuhiko Uehara, worked on various Disney sports soccer games. Let me take a look at the full credits here. Why are they credited for like 30 games that are all the same name? That's a little bit weird.
I don't know.
Vampire Killer for MSX.
I mean, that's Castlevania.
That's Castlevania. I really find that one fascinating, and I want to play that a little bit more. Tiny Toon Adventures Buster Bust Loose, which is the other Super Nintendo game that possibly has the worst sound effects and audio I've ever heard on ZSNES, but is actually legit really good music. Adventures of Batman and Robin. I mean, seriously, all of the sound projects that person worked on, it's amazing. Oh, look, how about one of the people who worked on Beatmania 2008 for PlayStation 2 and was one of the new song composers, huh? Castlevania Dracula X. Turtles in Time, that music was pretty good. One of the people who did the music for that worked on the audio for this game. Like, you just have legends. NES Gyrus, which honestly is not my favorite version of Gyrus, but still, really good music despite taken directly from, who was it, Bach?
I don't know.
Converting Bach to actually sound good for a video game, you gotta be a good music person, you know? Good job. Oh, there is so much death.
Yeah.
So much death. Yeah.
I mean, this is tough. But look at Off score. This is already Off's newest high score.
Yeah, 21,500. Like, honestly, I hope that we see level 2. I hope that we see more of the antlion, because that antlion is pretty cool. Off is doing some very dangerous weaving between the bullets. Like, he's gotten really used to not being able to see his own sprite.
Yep.
And I feel like Time Walker is getting there as well, but Off definitely has the advantage at this point. Super high score here. Time Walker just needs one good push to really be in contention here. That's all you need. One good push.
24,300 is the new very clear high water mark.
The farts in this game are so good.
I mean, and here's the thing, like, seriously, go listen to this real soundtrack. It is legitimately very good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, with that said, we are 36 minutes in. Kusog7ande, the Bad Video Game Tournament, brings two people together to battle it out to see who can do the best playing a game that they've never played before. And with this game, they maybe have played a little Gradius, but they have not played this on ZSNES, and that is truly the nightmare here. Like, there is a little bit of truth to being able to, like, knowing how some of the upgrades and other weapon systems in Gradius works. Like, having a wide knowledge of video games is always helpful, I feel, when going into a tournament. But, like, it still has to deal with experimenting and really knowing where your ship is and learning a consistent way to be able to not die.
Oh.
That is the true challenge. And Lion time!
Back to the...
It's Chompy Boy! Oh my gosh.
It's a Chompy Boy.
I love it so much. Yeah, I think the Author Blues is using continues at this point because he probably wants to just get used to fighting Chompy Boy.
Yep.
And honestly, I think that is a wise decision when you're playing in Kusog7ande. When you already have a decent high score that you set before getting to a boss, it's probably worth just grinding out to see, how can I get past this boss reliably without dying a billion times? And so just, like, Author Blues is putting in the grind right now in order to fight this boss. And that's the right move, I feel.
I think so. And the other thing with, doing this too, right, I think Off put in a lot of good work to get a high score. My guess is that Off feels is probably pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So it would make sense, like, hey, you know what? I bet you get a really good score, right, for beating this guy. Now you got, like, the thing is, you got like 20 minutes left, right?
Okay.
So the real question is, are we gonna see, right, Antlion B in 20 minutes?
I don't know. But that's a game over for Author Blues. I believe back to the beginning of the game. Author Blues is typing in Discord and is probably typing some hate. That's okay. Hate's expected because it's April Fools. Author Blues is saying, if I had any clue what this dude was supposed to look like, I'd be better off.
I mean, that's real fair.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and see, like, if I can figure out. There has to be a picture of the antlion on Gradius somewhere. Lion,
Oh, yeah.
Gradius, 3.
I mean, it looks like what you would expect that to look like if all of the sprites were...
Yeah, honestly, that's not incorrect.
Off is requesting a photo in all caps.
We can provide a photo.
Afterwards. I mean, legitimately, Author's got it right. Like the end spots right on the sprites are probably correct. You know? So Author's actually getting there. You can only hit him in the green spot, though.
So Time Walker is up to 15,100. And Cornden, I'd actually say that if Author Blues was fine knowing that it could help their competitor, because if Time Walker gets there, they'll have more information before Author Blues. But it's up to the GM.
You know, I think we're okay with this.
With sending it?
No.
Oh.
Everything Auth needs to know about that fight is visible even with the stupid sprites.
Yeah, I'm letting Author Blues know that it's up to the GM, and Cornden says no. Ha! That way you can't blame me. Not my fault. None of this is my fault. I have nothing to do with...
I'm just going to tell him what he needs to know. Everything you need to know about that fight is there.
Right. So, ZSNES version 0.15, again, the earliest release of the emulator, ends up being a nightmare for people who, first off, haven't played Gradius, and second off, even if they have, like to be able to see where their ship is, because it's...
To be fair, right, like, I know the Antlion fight. You know, I've actually, you know, beaten this game, right? I know the Antlion fight. And literally everything Auth needs to know is there, right? You can ascertain where the mandibles and everything are.
Right.
Like, you can really do this.
Yeah, I...
I mean, you know, they'll get there. It'll be fine. I have faith in Author Blues.
So do I.
Probably.
But honestly, if nobody beats the boss, big deal. So the scores, by the way, per chat, Author Blues has made up to 24,300 points. Time Walker has gotten 15,100. Time Walker is slowly walking the score up. And that's precisely what you want to do. Slowly get a little bit better, get a bit of a better attempt. The biggest disadvantage to this game, though, is that if you do get a game over, your score goes down to 0. So it's like, is continuing worth it? Probably only if you want to grind out attempts against the boss at the end of the stage. I would say that's it.
Pretty much. We're slowly getting to the point, right, that I'm like, I feel indoctrinated into this, like, just looking normal now.
Sorry, I'm jamming out to the music that's in my head and not the music that's on the stream right now because it's better. Gotta be honest.
Other than some of this being like weirdly pitch shifted, right? Like the music on this isn't that bad.
It's really not that bad. Like, nah, it's pretty bad. It's
this is nothing compared to a lot of ZSNES crimes.
Fine, whatever. I'll agree with you. I mean, yeah, F-Zero is pretty bad. I love the sounds on Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Knife, yeah,
oh, it's so
knife
good.
On Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
If we do show off more Tiny Toon Adventures, I believe that was on Don't Make Us Bored a little bit this last week. Okami showed it off, and that was the biggest crime I think I've ever heard.
Except it sort of wasn't. It was, but it wasn't. And that's because, you know what its crime is? It just... So the SPC 700, right, has, like, if you're going to do some tunes, and Konami kind of did it this way sometimes, a couple other games did. Right, like, it has a program, like, you're going to do these notes for this amount of length. ZSNES isn't really good, 0.15 isn't good about figuring that out. So some games, like Tiny Toons Adventures, just ignore that part and play it really fast.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Speed up,
Okami, I see you there in chat. I have better ZSNES crimes for you than Tiny Toon Adventures.
Yeah, if you do, I really, like, I just need to go through a whole bunch of these because, like, every time we do stuff with ZSNES, I laugh so much. I have an amazing time with ZSNES, my favorite.
To be fair, legitimately, right? If we were able to give out the game I was planning on giving out, you and I would have had the worst commentary ever. Because neither one of us would be able to talk through the laughter.
See, what I like about this, Corman, is that I actually don't know what game you're talking about, and I want to keep it that way until I see it.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Perfect. Laser. I'm glad that at least we have the very clear voice occasionally that says laser.
Yeah, so that's kind of what's interesting, I find, about, like, some of this, right? And it's true, the SPC 700, right? So some of these have a sound font. Konami has a very particular sound font, right?
Oh, yeah.
But the system also does PCM really well, and so that actually plays correctly.
Yeah. By the way, Aviancer, I didn't mention, thank you so much for the raid earlier. I have a hard time noticing everything when there are 1 billion things going on right now, but it is very much appreciated. And I hope that you're enjoying all of the blood coming out of your ears right now, because, you know, if you've got high blood pressure, losing a little blood's probably fine. But if you don't have high blood pressure, then maybe that's not the best. Time Walker is entering a password? Is this a password?
No, so one of the things on this, they have like 3 common setups for you, but you can actually make your own out of everything.
Okay.
I generally don't. I don't think you necessarily have to. But, you know, you can, like, so if you were like, you know, I really like the setup, I want this sort of missiles and this sort of laser and this sort of whatever, it'll let you do that.
Gotcha. game over for Author Blues. Good attempt. Author Blues is still in the lead score-wise, by the way. I think the players need to start making their final pushes in order to make progress in this. You know, we're going based off of high score. Whoever gets the highest score wins, and Author Blues still is about 9,000 points ahead of Time Walker. I think a little under 9,000. Yeah, that's right, under 9,000. Who would have guessed? But still, both players have been doing, like, definitely been making progress and getting better at playing this version of the game.
Time Walker's push here is actually really good.
Yeah, I mean, we're at 1,200 points, still a couple extra ships. And honestly, like, if you can get yourself to a place in the game where, like, there are lots of enemies and lots of points that you can get, farming in a specific location is not a bad idea.
It's really hard to farm in this because everything's auto-scroller.
But, like, which area is going to be the best to just get a few extra points? Because that might be worth doing.
Yep.
Time Walker dying again. Not a huge deal. Death happens to every Gradian who plays on ZSNES. You know what? If I were a pilot and I knew flying was like this, I probably would retire.
Probably not.
Change career, you know?
Yeah, I think I'd worry about it a little bit too.
Like, become a speedrunner, you know? Let's just play video games. Let's not actually, like, play Gradius. And there we go. Author Blues, I believe, taking an intentional game over here in order to start back at the beginning. That's completely fine.
When they're done, I will give off that photo he was looking for.
Perfect. I actually really like the way that stars scroll in this game, which is absolutely not realistic unless you're going multiple times the speed of light.
They use, like, all of the SNES background layers just to do that parallax effect.
Yeah, I like it. But this is also not realistic. This is not how stars work. You're never, like, look how slow you're going compared to the planet. The stars are not going to scroll like this.
But they might.
No, they won't. They're going too dang fast, Corndan. Like, if you were going multiple times the speed of light, then maybe they'll scroll this fast. But that would also imply that this desert planet, whatever crap it is also going multiple times the speed of light, and I find a few problems with that.
Well, I don't think that there's any issues.
Some people are saying that they could be comets. If they are comets, then...
Look, have you ever seen Apollo 13? It could just be a lot of dust because, like, every time a Vic Viper is blown up, like, oxygen and stuff, like, it's blown out.
That's
fair.
That
kind of looks like stars.
Maybe they exploded and those are all the LEDs left over from the ships, even though LEDs didn't exist when Gradius was made. They were just predicting the future.
Oh, LEDs exist?
No.
In the 90s? Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, single ones. So, like, there's no, like, LED displays.
Okay. I have no idea when LEDs got started. I just know that they're pretty cool. There's an LED in the SNES. No way. No way.
Yes.
There probably is. Fine, whatever.
There is. The power light is an LED.
Well, that's not going to shine brightly enough out in space. Do you think all these NES LEDs that are floating out here are bright enough to be seen while you're playing? Well, I guess it's just simulating. Okay, this game is just simulating.
Tina makes a good point in chat. Every diode is an LED if you believe hard enough.
Other people are saying if you put enough power into it, a diode will become an LED,
true.
and I am a little bit terrified of this. I'm not.
So
yeah, let's go with. I'm gonna go with things that are classified as an LED, and I'm just gonna let that happen.
look, if you have faulty diodes or you put a lot of power across one, they'll light on fire. It will emit light for a while. I did it in college. Somehow I lit a LED like alphanumeric display on fire. It was really cool. It was like this nice purple like flame shooting out of the LED. It was awesome.
I thought you were going to talk
about. Mine was
about...
just faulty. I wasn't doing anything wrong.
Yeah, in general, if you're trying to make something become a light and it becomes a fire instead, you probably
that is still a light.
You have put too much energy into it and should probably back off or get a fire extinguisher ASAP. Holy crap. But with that said, that sounds like something that I would have been terrified of doing that as a teen. But now, as an adult, I'm not really too afraid of accidentally setting things on fire. Because I'm not going to be in a place where I burn an entire building down when I do it, okay? I'm going to do it outside. Or in a place that, like, doesn't have curtains, okay? No curtains or outside.
I mean, don't light your curtains on fire. I think that's a fair...
Yeah, if you learned anything from this stream, chat, let it be this. Do not catch your curtains on fire, okay? That is trouble. Unless you're, like, going outside and, like, burning various things that you had in your house because you're, like, as part of some, like, ceremony where you're, like, let's go ahead and destroy the evidence. Then maybe you can. I don't know. Don't burn the curtains that are still inside your house, okay? If they're still hanging up, they're not for burning. Yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't let chat know about that before. Some people already did that.
Well, look, here's you know, the idea of kind of what I've told, right, you know, some of our players. Like, look, everybody is basically an adult around here. You know, that's different ages. I mean, some of us are old, like me. Some of them are not. You know, you can make your own choices, and you just have to live with the consequences of that.
I'm going to go ahead and say, if anybody watching this is not an adult, don't tell us, because there are really creepy people on the internet, and I don't want weird things to happen. And also, do not set your curtains on fire, okay?
Essentials kids, if you hear us, don't light your house on fire.
Yeah, okay, Essentials kids, do not light your house on fire. Essentia, you may light your house on fire. I give you
Essentia, please don't light your house on fire, but if you do, at least you are old enough to live with the consequences.
I'm really confused about what messages we're trying to get across here now.
Don't light your house on fire. That's the message.
Oh, okay. Kids, do not light fire at all unless under strict adult supervision. Adults, do not light your house on fire anyway. And you can start fires, just not your house, okay? People are asking marshmallows. I think I've actually... Corndad. I feel like in college once we turned on one of the burners that had problems and would actually spew flames, and we roasted marshmallows over that.
Yeah, but you're not starting a fire per se in your house.
I mean, it was in the house. It was definitely in the house, and it was definitely a fire.
But that's your stove.
Oh, what about the time?
That's like supervised fire.
A supervised fire? Yeah, it's a little more contained. My father, I remember he made a cake once and decided half of it is going to have marshmallows on the top. Bake the cake. Yeah, let me tell you, what happens when marshmallows get hot? They melt. What happens when marshmallows...
And then they burn.
Well, they leak over the side and drip down onto the heat element, and then you have a fire inside the oven. Which, if you're going to have a fire, inside the oven is one of the better places, but still, you probably don't want that.
I mean, and if you have a charcoal grill, you can light a fire in that.
Not the kids, though, unless under supervision. That's time, everybody! That's time! Yeah, I'm actually...
Crappy?
Yeah. Crappy is being a butt and didn't tell us that it's time. Okay, I'll let them know. Competitor time. I think Discord's just being a butt today.
It's not Crappy's fault, it's actually Discord.
Discord? How dare you thwart. That's the word. I was gonna say, how dare you thwart my Crappy, and saying, how dare you throat my Crappy just sounds a lot worse, and I'm gonna go ahead and pretend that I never accidentally almost said that. But yeah, from what we can see, it is very clearly a victory for Author Blues. Author Blues did get 24,300. I just shouldn't do this anymore, Corndad. My brain is dead. 24,300 points. Time Walker, I see 15,100. Time Walker may have had a better chance, or a better push.
I'm waiting for Oth to come yell at me. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, okay, let me go ahead. Please? I dragged them. Hello there, Author Blues, and welcome to Discord is being an absolute butt today. I'm not sure if Discord or Gradius 3 is more broken, but at least we have you and Time Walker here, and I have to say congratulations, Author Blues, you took the victory today.
Oh, okay.
You did tell me, Oth, that I was going to give you a game on an emulator from before Y2K, and you were correct.
Did I make this happen?
No, I was gonna do it anyway.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know, like nobody was doing anything for April Fools. I'm like, you know what? Let's just give them ZSNES.
We had to do at least one April Fool's thing, and Gradius 3 on ZSNES, I think, fit the bill. Yeah.
I spent like all week, like going through this, and I put in Gradius just because why not? Like, let's see, is there a good game that ZSNES crimes? And it turns out that ZSNES crimes Gradius 3 a lot.
Yeah, it's one of the bigger crimes that we've had with ZSNES, and I love it.
I'm suddenly recalling at the beginning you saying, I guess we'll go, when you pitched UN Squadron and Gradius 3, you're like, we'll go with Gradius 3, you'll see why. And I'm just having a flashback to that moment. I now understand.
I was not wrong. UN Squadron has not quite as bad crimes as this. It's also legitimately a good game, and you should play it anyway. But it's a lot more. It's actually more than this. Somehow.
Really? How so? Explain.
The base game is just mean.
Oh, the base
even
game
more
is
mean than Gradius 3. Yeah.
Okay.
So it doesn't do like the sprite crimes as Gradius. The game is just mean.
Yeah, Time Walker, you're a little bit quiet there. I believe your mic is muted if you're trying to talk. But I would like to...
I know.
You know. What are your thoughts about this experience that we had today?
I'm upset, and I'm glad it's over now.
That was very stressful.
I went to heck and back.
Yeah, this is something that is kind of evil. And while I love it, I also realize that in a race setting, not being able to see where your ship is, like, very clearly, that is fun. Fun's a different way to put it, but there are people who probably actually played a few games like this when the first release of ZSNES came out. Like, there are definitely people who played some of the games on this emulator and got to experience the pain.
I basically did.
Okay, so
Right?
Corn
I
Dan is
actually
basically
started
one
on
of those.
ZSNES like 0.2.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
And I didn't have Joy to Key. I was playing on DOS. I had to play with the stupid keyboard controls I linked for you guys.
Oh.
You know, some people when they suffer, they seek to spare other people the same suffering, and some people seek to inflict it on others. And
Look, I approach this as I want to have a shared experience with you guys. And I played this for an hour or two, and both you guys got farther than I did.
Both of you have been indicted into the ZSNES sufferers support group. So congratulations.
Yeah, as far as the match is concerned, I realized after grinding against the, I guess that was an antlion at the end.
Yes.
I guess I tried wrestling against it for a while and realized I probably wasn't going to beat it. So at the end, what I was really trying to do was get 3 good runs in the first half of the level and 1 good run for the second half. I thought that would be the maximum score I could do, but I think I was so frazzled by that point I just couldn't get one solid playthrough start to finish with 3 good starts.
Yeah, I thought I saw that you were sort of doing that loop over and over again, and I thought that might be what you were trying to do to rack up points. Time Walker, was that the same strat for you?
Yes, I was trying to grind the first half a bit and actually grind the power-ups as much as possible so that I have those power-ups that help me kind of see where I am. That's why I took the double shot and the front option, because this was more or less on the position of my ship.
Yeah, I was kind of torn because the double seemed like the one that gave me the best clue of where I was exactly. I felt like the option, it lies just enough that it wasn't helpful. Like, you know, the option kind of trails behind you, and that was being more disorienting. And it wasn't until like the very last, I think, 5 minutes that I finally was like, let me just turn on the shield. And I was like, oh my god, the shield just shows me where I am. Yeah, I wish I had done that the whole time.
Yeah, I was trying to do this at the end as well, but yeah, I accidentally instead did the smart bomb.
Well, yeah.
You know what? That's completely fine, and you know, having a space shooter isn't super common in Kusog7ande. Having ZSNES isn't the most common experience that we have here, but for sure you did not experience the worst audio crimes that we have. It's just one of the biggest player sprite crimes, as well as the freaking the sand snakes. Holy crap. I don't know what their deal was, and I still am not sure where their hitboxes were. I just know that they were there. But After Blues, you got really good at like killing those guys relatively quickly, the little sandworms that pop up.
You guys did great. I mean, legitimately, this game is hard normally.
Yes.
And we just made it harder because.
Okay, so usually in the game you can see where you are?
Yes.
Yeah.
That does seem to your benefit, yeah.
Yeah, it's to your benefit.
For both of you, if you haven't tried Super Ghouls and Ghosts on ZSNES 0.15 and you want a really good laugh at some of the sounds, that one is very, very worth trying. I fully recommend it.
I got a couple I can put together for you.
Yeah, like, there are a lot that just kind of end up a little bit bad, and then there are some that are just, like, spectacular.
F-Zero.
F-Zero has really big
F-Zero's
audio
amazing
crimes.
because it plays fine, but then Big Blue starts up, and...
Oh, it's bad! Oh, it's so bad. But yeah, seriously, congratulations, Author Blues Time Walker. You're going to the loser's bracket, but that is completely fine, because as long as you fight, you can stay alive down there, and...
You're probably not gonna get ZSNES again.
Probably not, yeah. Yeah, I feel like unless one of us is in a very, very bad mood, ZSNES is probably mostly done for the tournament. Probably. No guarantee, but probably.
We did talk about... We did talk in the chat about Nesticle.
Yeah, I played Nesticle quite a bit when I was a teen.
I'm trying to find an early version of that too, because that does crimes on like Kirby and a couple other games.
Yeah, the thing is, like, this version of ZSNES is actually kind of hard to find, and I'm glad that we have managed to, like, pin down a solid location, and that we
Actually, thanks to Smite.
Yeah, Smite is pretty dang awesome. I would recommend, like, we've talked about possibly putting together some sort of web version where people can just choose a ROM that they have on their computer and have it packaged and sent so that it's really easy for you to get the DOS box setup that we have for y'all. Honestly, we'll talk about possibly doing that more because I feel like more people need to experience the ZSNES.
Sure.
Actually, Author Blues, what are you doing these days? Anything fun over on your channel?
I've never done anything fun in my entire life.
That sounds about right. Okay, Time Walker.
No, I played through Celeste. I'm playing other stuff. Go for it, Time Walker.
No streaming from my side. I mean, I do have a bit more time now because I'm finally done with my studies, so...
Oh, nice!
Nice.
Good. Getting a little bit of a break will definitely be good. Author Blues, be legit. Tell me what you're doing.
I beat Celeste, and I've been playing. I've been playing a lot of ZZT lately. I've been going through ZZT, Tim Sweeney's original game from the early '90s, and playing through a bunch of like custom fan-made worlds.
I need to play that. Like that's one of the old games that I have never touched, and I definitely need to play.
Do it.
Fine. I will. I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll play ZZT.
I'm also waiting for you to. I'm waiting for you to finish up all the levels you're adding to your game, so I can finally play it.
Yeah. Well, I've got 20 levels finished. I'm going to get another 20 levels by the end of April. That's my hope. And then I'll go ahead and share that, and it's going to be sort of various iterations.
A slow drip.
Yeah, because puzzle games are hard to make, Author Blues.
Yeah.
You have to be smart or else just be really good at accidentally making a good puzzle and then really making yourself mad because you can't remember how you solved your own puzzle for 40 minutes. Yeah, I've had that experience. It's actually really, really fun to trick myself. Well, seriously, thank you so much. I will definitely share with everybody when there are more updates. So I'll let both of you go, as well as Corndan, who probably actually needs to go make pizza.
I do actually have to go light the grill.
Yeah.
Well, take care, everyone.
Take care, friends. And again, congrats, Author Blues, and best of luck to both of you in your next matches.
All right.
Bye, guys.
All right. See you, friends.
Bye.
Bye.
Right. Bye.